Someone said Jesus Christ is alive. Then I received a phone call that buckled my knees. I closed my gallery, David Greenberg Antiquities, early that evening to play one of my rare but deadly chess matches against my diminutive gambler friend, Larry Finkel, a loser of epic proportions. In his daily desperation to support his local bookies, Finkel is a scavenger in the antiquities black market, preying upon unsuspecting collectors whom he can convince that vast windfalls await them at little risk. I only associate with him because, while Finkel may be a slimeball, his dragon variation of the Sicilian defense makes for breathtaking chess. Outside in the falling dusk, the cold, hard rain dragged its feet, but I sensed a balmy April poised to elbow it aside. Umbrellas and raincoats rushed by my shop's windows, doomed to be relegated to closets by morning. Life in the Midwest would soon emerge from its winter dormancy renewed, stretching its emerald luster toward blue skies and sunshine. The little English shop bell above the door tinkled as the 5'5" scam artist scurried into my gallery, his back alley soiled shoes leaving schmutz on the Kashan Persian rug. "Hey, genius, ready for a knife fight?" Finkel flattered me with my old gambling crowd nickname, although his tone was more sarcasm than grudging compliment. "Bring it on, Finkel," I retorted. I was surprised to see Finkel looking like a middle-aged accountant, black hair slicked back, wearing a tan sports coat over pressed khakis and a plaid shirt. The big annual Baptist convention was in town, and I'd expected him to be sporting his black preacher suit with the phony white Father Finkel collar, like a predatory wolf in sheep's disguise. With a grimace on his skeletal face, he leaned away to block my view of his illuminated cell, hurriedly fingering the miniature screen. Nothing. He checked his watch with a bitter frown, then angrily shoved the cell into his pocket. Finkel is tightly wound. It was an hour before post time at Fairmount Racetrack. I figured if he wasn't at the track, he intended to snooker me. But how? I locked the door, then, returning to my desk, poured 2 Cabernets and pulled my hand-carved ivory chess set from the drawer. The set is nothing special, 20th century Hong Kong, but I like the way the pieces make a solid thunk when brought down hard on the board. To make room, I cleared my desk, closed the safe, and, honored guest in mind, gave the tumbler an extra spin. I also shut down my computer so he couldn't thumb drive my customer base when I left the room. There's no trusting Finkel. During our second game, Finkel said pointedly, "Hey, there's a rumor going around that Jesus, the Jesus, is living somewhere in Israel. Now there's a chance for someone to make a buck." I sneered, figuring he was either trying to break my concentration or he had a bizarre hustle lined up to snag me. Finkel knows I'm a relatively honest player in the antiquities game, despite my reputation in some circles, and it's difficult to cheat an even somewhat honest man. Yet greed does spring eternal in the cold-hearted, low-life breast. "Sure, Finkel," I laughed. "I'll leave the door unlocked for him." His eyes narrowing, he pulled out his cell phone and tapped the screen, listened for a single ring, then cut off the call. Turning to me, he sported a smug, superior grin. I didn't know what to make of his sudden change of demeanor. I soon found out. Within moments, Finkel's cell rang out the Kentucky Derby call to the gate. He noted the caller and handed it to me. "It's for you." "David Greenberg," I growled. "Hi, David, it's Miriam." The familiar voice of a woman I hadn't heard in 20 years said cheerily. Instantly, I felt faint, unnerved, and at the same time, joyously aroused. It was indeed Miriam. My hand began to shake, and I went white blind, the ocean roaring in my ears. When I recovered from the shock, I stammered, "Miriam, why are you calling me?" "I can't tell you over the phone, David," she said urgently. "But we need to talk. It's important. How about lunch tomorrow? Blueberry Hill?" I quickly agreed, fool that I was.